everybody. It is Monday morning, February the 23rd, 2026. Thank you for joining me on Morning Coffee Talk Live with Dave, and I'm Dave. So, I hope everybody had a great weekend. I'm just doing a little finish up here. And waiting for everybody to get their coffee and ready to go. Oh, there we go. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. So let's see. I do have a couple of things I wanted to talk about this morning. We have the giveaway coming. It's this week. I'm going to wait for everybody to grab their coffee because it is Monday morning. And, East Coast. Hey, Kelly. Good morning. I know. I was out Friday, but, God's good. My daughter's surgery, reconstructive surgery lasted most of the day. On Friday, we got home Friday afternoon, probably around 4 or 5 o'clock. And hey, Steve, and she is recouping and doing well, and everything went well. So that is a plus. Paul Phillips joined. Hey, the unknown OT. Good morning. Casey, good morning. How you doing? I know if you're on the East Coast, it is slamming cold and getting a ton of snow is what I hear. Kelly, how's it in Michigan? What's the temp this morning? Everybody on TikTok, hey, if it's your first time here, let me know where you're from and what the temp is this morning. It's probably in the 40s here in Central Texas, but they're talking about it getting back up to the 80s by midweek. And we are not having any snow here. So thank you, Kelly. Cold, 20. Maybe some snow there in Michigan too. Fix shit all day. It's 22 in Chicago, 31 in Arizona, Casey says. Our over-the-road truck driver has been hauling from East Coast to West Coast. I guess today, Casey, even though it's 31 in Arizona, it's probably a good place to be considering I know you were up on the East Coast when you were picking up your load headed that way. So yeah. But yeah, so Kelly, my daughter's reconstructive surgery went well Friday. She recouped over the weekend and she's feeling much better. So let's just, hopefully she'll continue to get better. And I think she has to go back to the doctor in a couple of weeks for a checkup. So other than that, Sultan 123 joined. Good morning. Pam Rosen joined. Good morning. Pippa joined. Luca joined. Good morning. Hey, everyone. If it's Monday morning, February the 23rd, it's my wife's sister's birthday today. She's going to be 69, and I was writing her a birthday message this morning about 4:30. I haven't posted it yet. And she'll be 69 today. 69 years young, I can say that. And but I always, not because she's my sister-in-law, but usually for anyone, when I'm writing them a birthday message, I always leave their age out because I don't think giving somebody a birthday message or sending somebody a birthday message really, it's not about how old they are as much as it's about conveying that you hope that they have a good day, and that they're still here with all of us on their birthday. So I'll have to finish that off and get it on the way to her for her birthday. But she does live in Austin, and has for a very long time after she got out of the military. So she actually was in the Air Force, got out of the Air Force, went to the University of Texas and graduated there, and then worked for Travis County, which Travis County is Austin, as she worked in juvenile probation and some other stuff too. So, and she recently retired right before Donna, my wife, retired back in June. And she retired right about, they both retired about the same time. So yeah, fun. So hey everyone, if you are new here and you haven't like, share, follow, subscribe, please do so. I'm trying to get to the 10,000 mark, and it's free. It doesn't cost anything. And if you would like to join the fan club over on TikTok, you can send me one of those little heart emojis. I think it's a 1 coin. That would be much appreciated too. I always like to add to the fan club. It makes what I do Monday through Friday even better. Thank you everybody. Zeth joined, Max joined, Farm Life joined, GV joined, user 529 joined, Ethan McQuarrie from Arizona just joined. Thank you. Matthew Justice 379 joined. Hey everybody, good morning. And so, being Monday morning, so like I said, I always like to go through the first part, like, hey, I'm inviting everybody to please like, share, and follow. Sharing the live is nearly as important as helping me build followers. Thank you for following there. Appreciate you. Thanks for the follow. Thanks for the like. Anyway, so always like to get that out of the way. And if you like what you hear, you enjoy the live, definitely consider sharing it with your friends and family, and like and subscribe. That it goes a really long way. And I tell everybody, if you've been here and you're a regular, I do affiliate marketing. And the number of followers really helps with that part of it. And the affiliate marketing is really what right now is kind of pays to take care of all the equipment I have and my time and effort. But the show's all about all of you and about engaging. And so I always try to find something that I want to talk about, but we can always talk about what you want to talk about. Go, Kelly, tell me what it is. So Kelly over here on YouTube said that she has another cool fact about her town, and if you haven't heard us discuss Kelly Rosenthal over here on YouTube, she's from Michigan, and she lives in a really small town. And I went and looked it up, and I'm going to tell you, it's what we call in Texas a spot in the road. It's very small, but it's very unique too. So, George, good morning. Oh man. Woo! I tell you what, that flu will take you down. That's for sure. Always we talk about that. So see, here we go. George has brought up a great conversation piece, and we'll talk about it here in just a sec. next to the post office is now also a home. So what Kelly's saying is that there's an old bank. So, and Kelly, just so that I got this right, you live in the old general store there, and then there's a post office, and next to the post office there is an old bank, and somebody has turned that old bank into their home. So, wow. That's really unique when you do stuff like that. There, Mixer, thanks for the follow, man. Appreciate it. Cow Cop, good morning. Just checking. How are you? Everything's, I guess, okay. Have they gotten all of those wildfires somewhat under control or not? Mary Whitmire 290 joined. Hey. How you doing, Mary? Oh, thank goodness, man. So they got the fires up in the Texas Panhandle contained, but I want to tell you, few days it was pretty crazy up there. Ethan, a touch of the flu too. So George on TikTok's been, I've been missing him for the last 10 days. He's been sick with the flu. So just out of curiosity, do most of you get a flu shot every year? And trust me, I know that getting a flu shot does not keep you from getting the flu. It just keeps the symptoms lesser, supposedly. And I do get a flu shot. So George says no flu shots. Okay. I do get a flu shot every year, and mainly. Okay. Wander 71 said no shot ever. Okay. I respect what everybody. I mean, it's your body. I think you do what you want. And I know that like flu shots are usually like last year's stuff, but they say that it really reduces. And the last time I had the flu, I think it lasted, 48 hours, and then I was back on track. And so like if you don't get the flu, okay. Definitely get the shingles. I got the shingles vaccination, and it's 2 shots. I can't remember if they're 3 months apart. I think they're about 3 months apart. The shot itself doesn't hurt, but your arm will be sore for a few days. But the shot they're giving for shingles now should be the last shot you ever need to take to prevent that. And if you've never had shingles, trust me, get the shot. It's a lot better. Which is really unusual for most people, but I developed a severe case of shingles when I was like 27, and it took me out of the game for a couple of weeks before I was able to go back to work. But yeah, and actually back then they gave gamma globulin shots every day for like 7 days or something. So yeah, wasn't fun. But the shots weren't the bad. I mean, that wasn't the fun part, but the fact that shingles, it can be bad. Our preacher, where my dad went to church, the lead minister there got shingles, and it got in his eye, and it was a bad deal. So if you get to that, like a lot of us are probably already either close or getting to, I want to say that's in your 50s, that you should consider getting the shingle shot, because you surely don't want to get that. Every flu shot I ever got sick from till I got them from the Army. So initially flu shots did have a live culture of the flu. They no longer have that. So flu shots can't make you get the flu anymore. You might feel crappy, for a day, but there's no live flu in the flu shots any longer. And that's why a lot of people go, well, why should I take one? I haven't had the flu, and it's not going to keep me from getting the flu, but it does lessen the effect. And as the older we get, as you can see, George had the flu and he was down for 10 days. The flu does still kill people. And so anyway, take care of your health, be careful, get the shots that you're comfortable with. And if you don't like vaccines, well, I can respect that too. I nearly died from COVID, so I do get my COVID shots. Maybe it's a mental thing. I'm not sure. But yeah, COVID put me in a hospital for 5 weeks, and I'm, thank God, still here. But that was probably as sick as I've been. And there were a few times I was like, man, I'd just like to die because I felt so bad. But yeah. So anyway, moving on to that. Let's see, what does Kelly say? Yeah, never. So yeah, there's a lot of people when it comes to vaccinations, nope, they don't want to do it, and I fully respect that. And others like me, I usually get I'm probably vaccinated up, so I don't know which way is the better way. I think it's a personal choice myself. Except for when it comes, I did see this. And I know a lot of us, some of us were probably experienced it more than the others, but most of us took the polio vaccination. Well, it really wasn't a vaccination, a little sugar cube. But we were vaccinated against polio when we were children. And dear God, please, if you don't take any other vaccine or for your kids, get your kids vaccinated for polio, because that is a terrible, terrible disease to contract. And, it took down a lot of people and changed their lives permanently. And it's been 70 plus years where that has been under control, and now they say one or two cases of polio, someone who has polio and maybe they don't know it and being exposed could really cause a devastating effect. So hopefully I'm pretty sure everybody on this call and is probably vaccinated for polio, but apparently there are still some, there's people who have opted out and not had their kids vaccinated. But that polio vaccinated is really about the herd mentality. So anyway, let's hope that never comes back for sure. Raised on military bases here and overseas, over vaccinated. Yeah, I can understand that. You probably, when you're in the military, they vaccinate you for everything. And if you're going somewhere, they really stick it to you. They just line you up. So anyway, yeah. So I'm glad George is feeling better. So, we're talking about the weather and I-40 in Arizona. Yeah, for sure, Casey. The East Coast is, I don't know if it was, I think it was today. They were predicting like a 1.5 to 2 feet of snow in some areas. And I'm like, that's crazy. Jeffrey, thanks for the follow, man. I appreciate it. So yeah, I'm gonna call you 4H because I can't pronounce your name. I'm sorry, but welcome. Thank you for joining us on YouTube, and let me know where you're from. My sister's in Maine, has 3 foot of snow in Maine. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That's when when they start shutting down the like LaGuardia and some of these airports, and they're automatically letting people reschedule their flights, and they're telling people blizzard conditions, stay inside, it's bad. And I heard some story about the mayor, is it the mayor or the governor? Maybe, I don't know. I think it's the mayor of New York hiring anybody that wanted to help them keep the sidewalks and driveways and stuff shoveled. So that's crazy. 3 foot of snow. I can't imagine that. If Texas got 3 inches of snow, they'd shut us down for, except we don't really get snow. We get ice. It looks like snow a little bit, but it's usually ice, and it's ice pellets. So it's a little different here, and really wet and nasty when it starts to melt. But they were showing pictures up on the East Coast on the news yesterday where they have around New York, they've got snow, just mountains and mountains of it. And they brought in, what did they call this? They had some machine where they had these huge front end loaders scooping up the snow, dumping it in this machine that was obviously super hot to melt the snow and turn it into water. And it was, I guess, going down the drains. I'm not sure exactly where they were directing the water to, but so Casey says he's going to be in Las Vegas today at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Speaking of time, and maybe I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here, but Eric, or what it's easier for me to call you 4H. 4H, where are you from? I see that you waved, and I thank you for that. I was just curious what part of the country you're from. But anyway, like I said, we're talking about, Casey said, he's going to be in Vegas today at 11 a.m. Stay away from those slot machines, Casey. Oh, Sin City isn't that what they call it, Sin City? We have Donna and I have a friend that live in Pahrump, Nevada, and she's probably, so her parents, and she grew up here in Central Texas, and her parents owned skating rinks. Y'all do know what roller skating rinks are, right? Everybody experienced that. I mean, you don't see them so much anymore, but when I was a kid, it was a really big deal. I know I lived in such a small town that there was actually a company that traveled around, and it was a big, huge tent like you would see if you went to the circus. But inside that tent was a portable, unfolded skating rink. And man, it was a big deal. They came to town about twice a year, and they would usually stay 3 weeks or so when they came. But that was key entertainment when we were young. At the skating rink, people came to town, and it was usually usually in the spring, and then again early fall. What's good, user 252? Thanks for the follow, man. I appreciate that. Hiker Wayne, how you doing, buddy? NA Systems, it's been years since we've been to or seen a skating rink. Yeah, a lot of people don't see those anymore, but you want to talk about, we had lots of fun, great exercise, roller skating. I just remember good times doing that when I was a kid. All right, the Pathman, all the way from North Dakota. Whoa. Hey, how's the weather in North Dakota? Is it colder than a well digger's honey? Lloyd, good morning. How you doing this morning? So like I tell everybody, if you're new here trying to get to 10K, go ahead and give me a like, share, and follow. It's all free. I appreciate it. if you like and you're enjoying the live. And I will, if you are a creator on YouTube, I'll go check out your page and do the same. If you're over here on TikTok, I always check everybody who gives me a follow, and I'll go follow you back to make sure, as long as you're not a bot. I'm not going to follow bots, because we are limited to how many followers you can have on TikTok, or how many people you can follow. Hiker Wayne, thanks for the follow, man. I appreciate that. Hiker Wayne, where are you from? Did you tell me and I miss it? No, I didn't see. David Jokes, hey man. He says his hometown was centered around a skating and rink and bowling alley and go-kart track. Yep, all three of those, Dave. So the bowling alley and the go-kart track were in another town. We had to go, they were permanent, but yeah, we did a lot of that too as kids. That was some of the, go to the movie, go bowling, skating, and go-kart tracks. The go-kart tracks were fun, but you had to save up your money to be able to do that. Good morning. Thank you. Hey, Ed, how you doing? Jump in, say good morning. I know you got a busy week. Stay safe, because I hear the weather is going to be crazy. George, I agree with you. I can remember really good times with my family going to the drive-in movies, and when I was a teenager too. When I first moved to the Austin area, there were 3 big drive-ins that you could go to, and I think that was probably one of the things I did when I turned 16 and was able to have a driver's license, and probably one of my first trips from where I lived in Round Rock at the time into Austin. And of course there wasn't traffic and stuff like it is now, but yeah, going to the drive-in, I remember doing that a few times, and we always had, so drive-ins are back then were good. I remember, especially in the summertime, our family would go, and I remember as a little kid, you would get out and they'd usually have some playground equipment up front underneath the screen while your parents watched the movie. You were out in front of them in the play area playing. So yeah, we had some good stuff. They got a drive-in movie in Texas off I-45 South. Huh? How about that? I didn't know. I know there are still a few out, and there's some. I think Austin has one that's like a pop-up movie theater, but the reason I call it a pop-up is because it pops up on the top floor of these parking garages in downtown Austin. So how crazy is that? Gotta love Marty Robbins. I do like Marty Robbins. Da Bomb Brian, how's it going, buddy? Thank you for joining us again. We got a projector, do our own drive-in at the ranch on the side of the, yeah, that's technology. I think that's I've seen some of those where you can, if you've got a big wall or space where you can project a movie, those are fun too. Especially like if it's at your house and you got a place to set up, and the kids can watch or run around and play. Man, I think that's a great thing. It's just south of Dallas. Okay. On 45 South. Oh, okay. I know where we're talking about. I can't remember the name of that town, but yeah. I am familiar with 45 South, Casey. Yeah. Buzz Killington. Hey, man. How's it going? Thanks for joining. Let me know where you're from, Buzz. Oh, Ennis. Yep. My dad went to school in Ennis, Texas. Sure did. A lot of people, you say Ennis, Texas, and they ain't got a clue where you're talking about. So yeah. Anyway, let me get back to this because I kind of got off track here. I wanted to talk about, and then we can, and we can talk about anything else anybody else does too. Buzzkill, Pittsburgh. Hey, what's the temp in Pittsburgh this morning, Buzz? I know Northeast is really getting hammered from that storm that moved across the country, and we've had some reports already. Maine has already had like 3 foot snow and cold. I wonder, so believe it or not, it's probably in the 40s this morning here in Central Texas, but I think it's going to warm up into the mid 60s today. It was like 61 yesterday for a high, but they're saying by Wednesday it's going to be back to low 80s. So it'll be like spring in February, I guess. You know what's so funny is it's going to be March before we look up, and then April. And I mean, how time flies when you're having fun. Lloyd's in Wisconsin, it's 13 degrees outside. Woo! That's cold. So, everybody, that on March the 8th, we do what I think everybody hates doing. And let me know if you agree with me. Just put something in the comments. I hate constantly having to change the clocks. We spring forward, we spring backwards. It messes up everybody's schedule. Somebody forgets to change their clock. They're late to work. They're exhausted. And what we're fixing to do is on Sunday, March the 8th at 2 a.m., we're going to move our clocks forward 1 hour. So everybody's going to get to lose an hour of sleep. And it always takes me at least a week to kind of, fully transition. And, what's really dumb about it is when you fall back, we change the clock. We change our clock for less than 16 weeks, and then we change it again. So I don't know if anybody's ever read or understands why we can't seem to get that fixed. And I've looked at it multiple times. And there's been so here's the bottom line. The only way to get that stopped is Congress actually, one, has to do their damn job. And that's just getting them to do that is probably beyond anything that they would understand. Just do your job. Pass a law to stop all this time changing stuff. They've had bills in the past. So they had one bill, and it's been a while back, but it was called the Sunshine Protection Act. And it got, it was brought to the floor. And, can you imagine this, something as simple as changing, stop changing the clocks back and forth, something that pretty much everybody I've ever talked to wants to stop. They're so sick and tired of it. And our Congress can't do one thing without arguing about it. One thing that they need to do for the taxpayers and the people who vote them into office, they can't do one simple thing: change the law so that we don't have to change our clocks back and forth, back and forth. And that's simple. And this time changing goes way back. And I've read the history. I don't have it all right here in front of me, but, all the way back to, I want to say World War I's when it started. And, they thought, and the Depression, and they thought that, changing the time would give farmers more time in the field and they would be more productive. But it's all BS. anyway, so if you ever write your congressman, I don't know if you do or not. I've written several to them, and you usually can just send them an email. They'll usually have some general email address where you don't physically have to sit down and write a letter to them anymore. But you can let your congressman know, let your local people know that you want it stopped. And there's a new bill. It's called the Daylight Act of 2026. And it's getting a lot of, they do this and it starts to gain some notoriety, and it's time for a sip of coffee. And then it just kind of fizzles out because, I don't know. I don't know why they can't do something as simple as fix that. Anyway, that's what it's called, the Daylight Act of 2026. And here's what's in that bill. What they would do is all U.S. clocks would move forward 30 minutes one time. And that would be the end of changing your clocks forever. But it hasn't become law yet. So, we got the midterms and all that other fun stuff coming up. Maybe write your congressman and let them know that we want all this time changing caca to go away permanently. And like I said, I can't understand why we elect these people, we pay them, they have the best of the best, and they can't do something as simple as change one law. And I mean, the president can't do it on his own. It has to go through Congress. They have to agree. They actually have to work together like they're supposed to, and like we want them to do, and pass a new law that basically kills the old law and allows them to make the change. So anyway, there's only a couple places that don't. The Navajo Nation doesn't change time, and there's another place, but I can't remember right off the top of my head. Find it easier to stay warm in the cold weather than stay cool in the hot weather. Yeah, could be. 30 inches. Paul Symington joined over here on YouTube. 30 inches in mass. That's crazy. Now farmers work in the dark because yeah, exactly. They've got headlights. 100, you got it. You are absolutely 300%. I hate changing furnace filters. Yeah. So, in Texas, I don't have that. We change air conditioner filters monthly. And so if you haven't changed your air conditioner filter lately, now's a good reminder. So, the things that they say that we should do are some of the things that we should do when the time changes. Of course, you got to change all your clocks, the microwave, the stove. If you have a wall clock, you got to change that. If you have a clock next to your bed, you'll have to change that. Luckily, your phones will change automatically, so you don't have to do that. Your computers will change automatically. You don't have to do that. But some good things that they suggest you do, you could use that day as a reminder. If you haven't changed your AC filter lately, change your AC filters. That's one of your biggest investments in Texas. And hey, Wisconsin, you too, buddy. And it's really important to protect that. That's one of your largest investments if you have a home, is your AC unit. You don't want that going out when it's 100 degrees outside. So protect it by changing out your AC filters. And then too, your smoke detectors in your house. I see and I hear this all the time when I was working and I'd be on the phone with an employee and you could hear in the background, beep, beep. And it was their fire alarm going off. And a lot of these people lived in apartments, but some were their own homes. And, I'd ask them, I'd say, you hear that? And they're like, yeah, it's been going off for 3 weeks. I said, that's your fire alarm. So if you were to have a fire, it wouldn't go off. So they use, all the fire alarms these days use a D-cell, a 9-volt battery. So I always change mine. Of course, I have it set. I don't usually change it just when the time changes, but I try to change out those 9-volt batteries every 6 months just to make sure that everybody's safe. And also, if you have a carbon monoxide, if you have natural gas or anything like that, you would have a carbon monoxide in your place too. So keep those changed. It's definitely a good thing to do when the time changes, if you forget or you don't have it on your calendar to remind you to do that kind of stuff. And I tell you, I learned a lesson about 2 years ago. If you have smoke detectors in your home and they are over or they're 10 years old or older, they should be replaced. What happened in my house is I was awakened at about 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning with every one of my fire alarms going off. And that is really, that'll get your attention really quick. And I don't remember how many I have. I think there's probably 8 or 9 in the house. And because they're in every bedroom, living room, they're scattered all over. But what I found, and it was so disturbing that we called the fire department, and of course they sent somebody out because we didn't know if we had a fire in the attic or what had caused them all to go off at the same time. And what we found out is the first thing they did was, and two, I even had started going around disconnecting the batteries, thinking that would stop the noise as we had the fire department on the way. And no, it doesn't. They're wired, and so they continue to go off, and they talk to each other. But if they're 10 years old, it's time to replace them. That's their lifespan. So if you have smoke detectors and they're 10 years old, time to change them. And if you have to change them, definitely go on Amazon, because you can get them a lot cheaper on Amazon than you can at your local big box store, or at least that's what I found. But yeah, so those are the fun things we get to do as homeowners. But even if you're not a homeowner, even if you live in an apartment complex, they have smoke detectors. And if you haven't had the batteries changed on them or had them checked out, if you take them down, they have an expiration date on them. Check them out. Have your landlord come do it. That kind of stuff. Change out your furnace or air conditioner filters or whatever you have. You must live in a home. Or battery power. Well, mine still have batteries too, but this house is 20 years old. But it's the way they set it up, and that's why they all went off at the same time. It's crazy. Yeah, yep, you're right. Morning, God, I did. But anyway, so I didn't know that they had a 10-year point on them, but that's what the fire department said. If they're 10 years old, you need to replace them. So, Dom, good morning. Morning, God. Good morning. How you doing? How much snow's on the ground, morning, God? Where you at? Awesome. 30 inches in Mass. 3 foot in Maine has been reported this morning. Lloyd said it was 13 degrees in Wisconsin this morning. That's crazy. We didn't get much. Okay, not much. Aiden, how you doing this morning? Good morning. Thanks for the follow. 100. Thanks. Morning, God. It's cold. Morning, God's got a wood burning furnace, and boy, when he gets that thing rolling, that's that probably keeps the heat going when you live in that part of the country where it gets really, really cold. Kim, good morning. How are you doing this morning? The house is toasty. So, hey, morning, God. So, with those kind of furnaces like you have, do you is there enough humidity in the air to keep the heat from drying out the air so much, or I mean, do you have to run a humidifier, or no? I have 2 windows open 24/7. Really? I mean, isn't that kind of defeating the purpose by opening you open the windows so that furnace must really bring the temp up? Huh. You have 2 windows open 24/7. That's crazy. Beach, Baja. How's it going, man? Dryer's better than moisture in your home. Yeah. Except sometimes if it's real dry, you can develop sore throat. I know in Texas it does get cold, and we do have central heat, and we run it sometimes, but really not very often. Mainly because we rarely ever sleep with the heat on because of that. The wood burner is amazing, penetrates. I bet it is. You still got to have moisture in the air. Yeah, right, exactly. Aiden, yeah, January is Houston's coldest month, in my opinion. Yeah, I was going to say, Aiden, I would agree with you. I say January, February are usually the 2 coldest months in Central and South Texas. And I mean, I consider Houston is a little bit south of Austin, but still it's in the general vicinity. It's further east. But yeah, we have very similar weather, except that Houston, the humidity, it's humid here in the summertime. It's even more humid in Houston than it is here in Austin. 29 degrees in Flagstaff, so the sun must be getting close to coming up because it looks like the temp's dropping. Jonah 3079, good day, Dave. Hey man, how's it going? Thanks for joining us this morning. Just giving everybody a reminder about the time change that's going to happen on March the 8th, which is next Sunday. So we can all lose an hour of sleep. But yeah, and just if you just joined in and missed out on it, I wanted to make sure everybody knows that we do have it, just as a reminder, time change. Check all your clocks. That changes next Sunday, March the 8th. Can you imagine next Sunday is going to be March already? Man, it just seems like the time is flying. Marco, hey, how's it going? M joined. Hey, how's it going? Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Travis. Boop, 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 boop. Come on. Let's go. Yeah, so, we got the time change. Make sure you change your AC filters if you have them. Check all your clocks, check all your smoke detectors, all that fun stuff. Now's a good time to do that. I got to get around. Hey, Chris, have a good one, buddy. Stay safe out there. I'm glad to hear that the fires are finally being contained up in the Panhandle. Mermaid, time is moving so fast. It really is. I agree. And write your congressman, because I sure would like, this will probably go like all the other ones have gone. They won't do jack diddly squat. I don't understand why our Congress can't get together and do something. That's I've heard them talk about how what I think they should change in Congress, and one of them is that when they pass a bill, that it can only be single item bills. So it can't be a bill that's got 150 pages and all this fat, and everybody got, has to put their 2 cents worth in. It can only be one item at a time. Can you imagine? Well, I mean, I would think that we would get a lot more things accomplished if it was a one item per bill deal. And the main reason is because you'd know if your congressman voted for or didn't vote for something that you wanted. And I think that's why they don't have single item bills, is because they don't really, they leaves the door open as an excuse. Well, I didn't vote for that bill because this and this were added on it, and I couldn't support that, so I just didn't do anything. And I mean, you've heard on some of these elections where these congressmen miss 300 votes. Isn't that crazy? They just, I ain't gonna vote on that. That's what we pay them for. And there's several other changes I would make. Congressmen would not travel. They wouldn't have to go to Washington to vote for anything. It's called Zoom. They could do it right there in their office if they have one. They could actually do it out of their home. And you can vote like that online. It's pretty simple as far as casting votes. They don't need to be spending taxpayer dollars to travel all over the country. So yeah. Artem, GS Beach. Where's GS Beach at? Baja. I can't. Your text isn't coming through. Mama. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, that's my big complaint here on Monday. Let's see. A couple of things I want to do is, don't forget two things. Let's talk about the drawing. It ends this Wednesday for this wireless headset, okay? The wireless headset drawing giveaway ends this Wednesday. 12 o'clock noon is the cutoff. You have to be 18 or older to enter. It's totally free. There'll be no cost to you. I'll pick up the shipping cost to ship it to you if you win it. You do have to send me an email to davesshop2@gmail.com if you want to enter the giveaway. In the subject line, put in wireless headset, giveaway, raffle, something, so that I know that you want to be entered. The cutoff time is going to be Wednesday this week. And then we will draw live on Thursday morning. We'll draw the name and we'll know who won the wireless headset. Okay. Now, the next giveaway is going to be sponsored by Super Clean. This is my favorite degreaser, and it's just a great all-around cleaner. This particular bottle is 32 ounces, but it is a concentrate. It can be used full strength, or it can be diluted up to 16-1. You've heard me talk about that you can use it for the shop. If you have an oil leak or oil spot on the concrete, you can put this down full strength. And a little bit of scrubbing and just rinse it off with cold water. You can use it for cleaning under your hood. And this is when I clean my engine bay, I use the aerosol can. Just seems to, I mean, I've used this too, but I like the aerosol can because, you can spray it and let it sit for a minute or two, and then just no high pressure washing needed. You can just take a water hose with some type of a spray nozzle on the end of it, and and it really does a great job there. They even make it in the foam. And you know, if you do have a shop, Super Clean even has a floor sweep, like, you know, that you can put down if you have an oil spill. They even make that. And in Central Texas, you can purchase it at Walmart and other big box stores. AutoZone, I think, carries it, and some other stuff. So anyway, Super Clean's going to be doing and sponsoring the next giveaway. And what you'll get in that giveaway is a 32-ounce bottle of the original and an aerosol can. I believe that's what they told me that would be in the giveaway. And that will work just like this one. We'll start that on Friday. You'll do the email thing. The only difference is the Super Clean stuff will be if you win. I'll get your information and we'll send it to Super Clean, and Super Clean will ship you their product directly from their warehouse to you. And Super Clean's located in Minnesota somewhere. So anyway, Super Clean's going to be the next one, but right now the wireless headset is this Wednesday is the drop dead date, 12 noon. So if you want to be entered in that, make sure you send me an email to daveshop2@gmail.com. And in the subject line, type in wireless headset, Bluetooth, giveaway, raffle, something so that I know that you want to be entered. And then on Thursday morning, we'll draw for that headset. And then Friday, I'll try to get it on the way to you via FedEx. So there we go. What's this saying? Jonah 3079. I'll be pouring cats and dogs here in Melbourne tomorrow. Well, so Melbourne, Australia is getting some rain tomorrow, sounds like. Marcus Silva, hey man, what up? And you know, I wish we had some rain because Texas has really been in a drought. So we could definitely use some rain. GJ joined. Hey man, what's up? Thanks for joining. Harbor Freight fan, yeah. Who doesn't like Harbor Freight? I wished I had one closer to me. There's one in Austin and one in Georgetown, which is, you know, both of them are about 8 or 10 miles from where I live. And if the traffic wasn't so bad, it wouldn't take too long to get there. But traffic's terrible. And you know, something that should take you 10 or... Uh-oh. My desktop clock, I don't know how the alarm got. That's crazy. Anyway, I like Harbor Freight. Some of their stuff, I've bought several things there. I have a extendable chainsaw that I use for pruning trees, and when I bought it, I think I paid $60 for it or so. And a lot of people are like, oh man, I want those are junk. Well, I've had it 5 years, and I have pruned my trees, the neighbors' trees, and everybody in the world asks, where'd you get that thing? And it's electric. You plug it in. But man, that thing will, it'll extend up to like 16 feet. And it's a little heavy, but man, it's great for pruning bigger trees. Oh God, ha, ha. Yeah, I know. They make other ones that are probably better, but you know, for $59, and I think it's a pretty good deal. Like I said, and you know, just so people understand why I have started showing products during the live, it is because recently became an affiliate for YouTube, and for me to be able to And YouTube takes the live and turns it into a long form video. And I'm able to attach products that I talk about and or show on the live. I can attach it to YouTube's video so that if anyone sees it and happens to buy one, then I'll get a small commission. Just another way to try to support the channel. So if any of you question why, because normally, I don't push it. I'm not trying to sell you anything, but I will show you different items. And speaking of items, I have a new one I wanted to show you. Hang on a second. So, if you have toolboxes and tools, some of us are tool fanatics like me, and some are not. And you're looking to organize stuff, you got to check these out. And what this is, it's a magnetized socket, and this is the 1/2 inch. This holds 1/2 inch drive sockets, and this particular one goes from 3/8 to 1 1/4. And you can just drop your sockets in here. Keeps it organized, easy to find, and it's magnetized even on the back. So and the magnet on these things are really strong. So like if you're working on something and you got a metal, you want to stick it out on the side of your toolbox so you don't have to keep opening the drawer. Boom, it'll hold it right there. But these make great toolbox organizers. I have some in toolbox back behind me, and I got these on the TikTok shop too. So I actually did a video on them. Check them out. They're a pretty good deal. This particular brand's by SETI, and I got it on the TikTok shop, and it comes like a full set. So it comes 1/2 inch, 3/8, and 1/4 inch, and you get two. They're SAE and metric. Anyway, pretty nice tool if you're looking to organize your toolbox. So thank you for giving me that time to allow me to kind of show you stuff. Question is, which house do you plug the cord into? What? Moingod's still laughing about my Harbor Freight chainsaw, electric chainsaw. I'm gonna tell you, you laugh all you want. You can put I've plugged that thing in, and I'm telling you, the trees in my front yard are 40 foot tall. And now, granted, just to clarify, they're what I call a softwood. They're actually Bradford pear trees, and I don't know that there's any of those type trees up north or not, but they are in this part of the country. They're a fast growing tree, and a lot of home builders use them in the area. But yeah, I've cut a bunch of, and people have the same reaction you do, Moingod, because I've had one that ran off of a chainsaw. A gas 2-cycle motor, and they're okay too. But again, everybody doesn't know how to maintain those. So you cut that tree at the ground? No, these are that particular pole chainsaw is designed for pruning them, not cutting the tree down to the ground. No. However, I've had some big trees that have fallen, like just this last year. The first northern blew through, we had probably 40, 45 mile an hour winds, and it took down a 40-foot tree right on his house. Now, I was only able to cut the limbs to get it off his house, and then he had to have somebody actually come out and finish cutting the bigger parts of the tree and grind the stump and all that other fun stuff. But yeah, if you're trying to keep your trees pruned, it does a good job and continues to do a good job. So Everybody doesn't want a gas powered or need a gas powered. Some of those, and I know some of them are junky. Maybe I'm just lucky, but it's done real well, and I've had no issues with it, and it's convenient. So yeah, she wills. She loves. I'm sorry. A good pruning saw, just fine. Yeah. Yeah, you do. Like I said, that's the downside is when you extend it, so it'll extend 16 feet. It's heavy on the end. So, you gotta pay attention and know what you're doing. You don't want to just put that in anybody's hands. And especially too, and I know they probably tell you don't do this, but you can actually climb a ladder. And usually I have someone helping me as far as like holding the ladder while I stand on it, but that gives me a few more feet to reach a little higher to prune. But it's great for pruning trees. Eddie TV, good evening. Hey, how you doing, Eddie? Let me know where you're from. That's crazy. Australia pouring cats and dogs. Well, that's tomorrow though. But we definitely need some rain here in Texas. The drought conditions nuts. Let's see, what else did I have this morning? I guess that's it. I want to talk about the time change. We talked a little bit about vaccinations that got brought up. Wasn't my topic I brought up. It was one that y'all brought up and wanted to talk about, and I think that's great. Robert, Ting Tools USA. Good morning, Dave. I have cherry blossom. I've got to cut back in the front yard. Would something like that you're talking about work? Yes, it would. Need to know, depending on how big your limbs are, I would say, I would say probably, I don't know, about that big around. But yeah, if you need to use it for pruning, absolutely, I think something like that will work fine. So go to Harbor Freight; they still sell them, but they're not the only people who sells them. But that's who had the best price on it, and mine's still working. Like I said, it's 5 years old. Actually, on YouTube, I did a video showing you how it operates. So go check out my video on YouTube, Dave's Shop, and then search for Harbor Freight, and you'll see I've got a couple of items that I've done videos on that I purchased at Harbor Freight. So yeah. Like I said, if there was one closer, I'd probably be in it more often. But I mean, I bought, here's another thing I bought from them was my miter saw. When I was first getting into woodworking, I didn't want to go out and spend $400 or $500 for a dual bevel miter saw. And I was able to pick one up and understand that it was Christmas time. But I bought a 12-inch miter saw, dual bevel, for $99. And it's the Chicago brand. And I know everybody laughs, Chicago brand, that's junk. Well, again, I've had that saw for about 3 or 4 years. And it's probably one of the tools in my shop I use constantly for different projects. And so it's been, the only thing I've had to do to it is the blade that came on it, not very good. So I did spend, a few months after owning it, I put a $30 or $40 better blade on it. But other than that, I've done nothing. And I have, and I use it pretty regular, and it's still, it's off and going. And I know the next one I buy is, probably going to cost $300 or $400, but I'm going to run that Chicago miter saw till it gives up the ghost. Cody, good morning. How you doing, buddy? So, I guess where I go with a lot of that, most DIYers, if you need some tools and you're not using them to make a living with, in other words, if you don't have them on a truck and if you're an electrician or you do construction and that's what you do to make a living, some of these tools probably wouldn't be good for you. But if you need tools to use around the house because you're trying to do some of your own work, man, don't don't spend you don't have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to get a tool that'll get a job done. And so that's where you can that's why you're seeing a lot of tools, especially on Amazon and on TikTok too, um, power tools that are not sold, necessarily sold in the United States, or not manufactured. They're manufactured in China and they're much cheaper. And, a perfect example, I have a whole set of a line of Ryobi tools, partly because I write reviews for Home Depot. And that just happened to be the line that I started doing. Morning, Cody. And so, I have people give me grief about Ryobi. Well, some people don't like Ryobi, but there are people who don't like Milwaukee and they want DeWalt. I mean, everybody has their favorite tool line. I happen to have Ryobi. Would I tell you that it's the very best one? No. But I also have some that I've reviewed that are no name brands, and the tools just as good as the Ryobi or a Milwaukee. I mean, and I've had no issues with them. So all I'm saying is, if you need tools to do something around the house, you don't have to buy the most expensive tools out there. Just buy the tool that you can afford, and you'd be surprised what you can get done with no branded tools, hand tools, power tools. Matter of fact, just over the weekend, I got a 40-volt leaf blower, and it actually operates on two 20-volt batteries. And I'll have to show it to you. But supposedly, I mean, from what I've seen so far, I mean, it came with its own charger. And I think it sells for about $100 and free shipping on TikTok. And I hadn't shot the video on it yet, but if I was looking for a blower that had a little power and was around that $100 mark, I might consider this one. It's got an adjustable speed control on it. It's got a lot of features. Like I said, I'm going to shoot a video so you'll see it, and then I'll try to show it to you on one of the lives and do that. So yeah. But like it's kind of like if you mow your grass and it's just the grass at your house, you could get by with of course they don't make these anymore, but let's just assume that you could get a push mower for $100. You used to could. So would you go out and do something like mowing God and buy a big, 35-inch or 48-inch walk behind commercial mower to mow your front yard? Probably not. You could get by with just a regular push mower. But mowing God does it to make a living. And so where you mow 1 yard a week, he mows 100, 150. And you have a 5,000 square foot yard to mow, and he has a 50,000 square foot lawn to mow. So, that's why you don't always have to buy brand name tools. So people will like to make fun of Harbor Freight and other off-branded tool people, but they do have some good stuff that most homeowners could use and be just fine with. So that's my take on those tools. It is 7:16. I think I've pretty much covered everything. the one thing, and we talked about it some last week, and I put a couple of posts out there. To fact, join. Hey, how's it going? Is I usually get so like here we go. Robert with Team Tools USA usually gets mowers used on Facebook or local shops, and that's you can do that too. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, if you're just mowing your own lawn, you don't need to spend any more than you need to because lawnmowers do one thing: they cut grass. Pretty simple. They all cut grass. There's a lot of other things that I always tell people, especially if you live in the South, is don't cut your grass too short because you'll have a dead lawn. Even if like in this part of the country, we have St. Augustine, and which is a turf grass, and then we also have Bermuda. That's the two main grasses you see in Central Texas. And what I see the biggest mistake people do is, especially with Bermuda lawns, they cut the grass super short. It stresses the lawn. No matter how much water you put, I got to figure out why that keeps going off. Doesn't matter how much you water the lawn is stressed and you get brown spots and all kinds of other stuff. Your lawn looks terrible. If you raise it, cut your grass at 3.5, 4 inches in height, and do it regularly, you'll have a nice lush lawn. The taller the grass, it protects the root system, and especially in Texas where it gets really hot, and your lawn will look tons better. Here's the downside to having a Bermuda lawn. Weeds in the spring are prolific, and if you use a weed killer on it, you're going to have brown spots in the lawn because most people put too strong a weed killer down to try to kill the weeds. Dorothy, good morning. Thank you for joining. So if you do live in a warm climate and you have Bermuda lawn, raise your lawnmower up. Whatever level you're mowing it out, raise it up 2 notches. Let the grass catch up with it. What you'll find out in Bermuda lawns can get super thick if you don't cut them too short and you water them. And they don't take as much water as St. Augustine lawns. And so like if you want to keep a St. Augustine lawn green, you better raise your lawn more. And you do still have to water, but you water much less and it stays greener longer. If you're having no rain and 100+ degree temperatures for extended period of time, you're going to have some wilted looking grass. But anyway, just my experience on that. What do you say, Mowing God? Would you agree with me? I don't know what kind of grass so people on YouTube and people on TikTok, if you don't know, Mowing God, that's what he does for a living. He's done it he had another job, but he has a business, landscaping business. And so he knows what he's talking about. He gives me grief sometimes, but that's okay. Let's see. My pops is in Houston and he put down AstroTurf. So, you're seeing a lot of people do that where they've taken up their grass and put down, JW, how's it going, buddy? And they put down AstroTurf. I've seen that. If you do it properly, if you have it professionally done, that can be expensive. However, I understand why people are doing it because water prices, one, we're in a drought. 2, it's much easier to maintain. I'm not sure how long, it would stay looking good, but I have seen people even here in the Austin area that have done that, that have maybe smaller lawns and they just find it easier to go in and do that. And it looks nice when it's done professionally. Pretty good. Great. Wonderful. So Robert, King Tools USA. Where's that located at? Is that in Houston? I'm gonna have to write that down. Is that King Tools USA? Do you make tools, Robert, or the company? Or I don't know if that's your company or if it's a company you work for. You're in Sharonville, Ohio. Headquarters is in Houston. And so do you make power tools, hand tools? We're a premium hand tool company. Snap-on is your biggest competitor. Really? I'm gonna go check it out. I never had heard of that company before, but yeah, I'm gonna go check it out because, like I said, you'll see I do different tool reviews, and I just never have heard of them. But I mean, there's a lot of tool companies out there, so that's great. Well, guys, it is 7:22, and I got to go do what I hate to do, but I'm working on a project, painting, which is the one thing I hate. That we're designed in Sweden, manufactured in Taiwan. Okay. Huh. I'll go check it out. I guess they have a website, tingtoolsusa.com. Is that right, Robert? Anyway, back to painting in the house. This is a project that I've been working on. I've lived in this house 20 years, and you know, all of the builders paint in interior paint. They always use flat paint because it's the cheapest thing they can put color on the walls for. And I'm repainting everything, same color, or very close, as I can imagine, because they don't make that color paint anymore. But surprisingly, I did have some of the original paint from Sherwin-Williams, and I was able to take it to Home Depot, and the girl did a really good job of matching the color. It's a shade, just a very slight shade lighter, but my wife likes it better, so that's what we're going with. And got to finish painting a couple of rooms, and I got a couple of walls in the living room that I need to finish, and then I will have and then the master bedroom. So it's a pretty good project, and but I want to get all of them, the entire inside of the house, painted with a satin paint, because then if if somebody puts their hands on the wall, you can just wipe it off with a damp cloth. It's just a much better paint, and it looks nice. So yeah, I'm doing what I hate to do. I hate to paint, but I'm cheap, and I don't want to pay somebody to do something that I can do just as good, if not better. And it's nothing pressing, so I can do one wall. If it takes me 2 weeks to paint a room, no big deal. I could paint it a lot faster if I moved everything out, but I don't want to move everything out of the room, so I just move stuff around and do it that way. But anyway, so that's what I'm working on that, and I've got a few videos to shoot. It is now 7:25. Hey, Robert, thanks. That's it. Okay. I'm going to go check out that website. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you and engaging. Come back and see us, so like I said, I tell everybody all the time, if you're new here, make sure you like, share, follow. I'll do the same. I hope everybody enjoyed the morning show this morning, had some coffee. It's like going to the cafe and hanging out with your good friends. I really appreciate everybody's support. I can't tell you how much this has really been pretty important the last few months, because going from a full-time job to being dispersed in a company reorg, it's been a real change, and I'm not sure I could have got through all of it without all the people who have joined and supported me on the live. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Anyway, we'll be back tomorrow, 6 a.m. For some more morning coffee talk and a fresh cup of coffee. Bring your ideas. If there's something that any topic you would like to discuss during the live, by all means. I don't know what I did to that. I reached around to move that clock on my desk, and I think I hit something by accident. But anyway, if there's any topics you ever want to talk about at Gmail, and we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Okay. So until tomorrow, go out, do something kind for somebody today. Your random act of kindness goes a long way, and you may not even know how far it goes. So go find something kind to do today. Hope you have a wonderful Monday, and I'll see y'all all back here tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Thank you for all your support. I appreciate it. Hey, Robert, I'll do that. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody on YouTube. Thank you for helping me get to 10,000 followers. Like I said, being an affiliate, if for some reason all vendors like to see 10,000 followers or more, I've been doing it since 2019. I'm not to 10,000 followers, probably because I'm not blonde, a woman, and really pretty to look at. But it's growing. It's growing every day. And the reason is because people continue to join and show their support. So thank you, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow, 6 a.m. I do this weekdays, Monday through Friday. Start at 6 a.m. We usually go to 7:30. So anyway, everybody have a great rest of your day. And thank you for joining me on Morning Coffee Talk Live with Dave this morning. Appreciate you.